9 years ago, I stumbled across this blog post written by this genius named Tim Urban. Tim's post changed my life. Because in this post, Tim talked about time, but not time in the way we traditionally talk about it. I'm not talking about time management, like blocking your calendar to write that term paper or figuring out when to study. Tim was talking about our personal time, how that time is finite, and you just cannot afford to waste it. See, my job tonight is to bring awareness. What you do with that awareness is entirely up to you. But I can promise you this: you cannot unsee and you cannot unhear what I'm about to share. So you're going to hear me ask a few times tonight this one question: what are you going to do about it? James Clear, author of the best-selling book Atomic Habits, once said, whatever age you are today, your future self would love to be it. Most people do not consider 65 to be a young age, but when you're 75, you'd love to rewind to 65 and regain those years. Few people would describe 35 as your youth, but in your mid-50s, your mid-30s will seem like the young you. Today is a great opportunity, no matter your age. That's probably a quote we should all reread a few times over. Because the reality is, everybody in this room, we are the youngest we will ever be right now. And I emphasize that point because oftentimes I look out into the audience and I see the faces, and I know what some people are thinking. Gosh, I wish I could go back and do that over again. I wish I would have pursued that dream job or pursued that opportunity. And to that, I say no. No. You are the youngest you will ever be right now. So what are you going to do about it? Let's take a little bit deeper dive into this idea that time is finite. Here's some visual representations of time. Here's 90 years. Here's 90 years in months. Here's 90 years in Fridays. Now here's 90 years in winters. I just grayed out 46 of those winters. I'm 46 years old. I've had 46 winters. Now, I live here in Phoenix. So every winter, if we want snow, we've got to drive, my family and I, we drive 7 hours north to Colorado for that snow. And when we hit the snow, I get 5 days of snowboarding in. So I know I have 90 winters up here, but we're going to work with 80 instead, because Gubernicks, we kind of live to 80. Okay? So let's work through some of this math. I'm 46, means I have 34 winters remaining. I get 5 days of snowboarding in each year. So that means I have 170 more days on the snowboard. But here's the kicker. That's kind of a lie. Because the truth is, I'm not going to be snowboarding at 75 the way I do right now. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to be going hard at 75. I'll give it everything I got. But it's not going to be like it is right now when I'm charging down the hill with the kids by my side. See, the way I figured this math, I have maybe 10 more solid years on the snowboard going at the rate I go today. So the truth is, I have about 50 more days on the snowboard. So knowing that now has an expiration date, how might I treat the next day that I'm on the mountain? Am I going to go down the hill a time or two, then head to the bar, hang out like so many others? Or am I going to go as hard as I possibly can, charge down that hill, get as much out of that day as possible? See, what in your world actually has an expiration date? We have a lot of college students here tonight. How about road trips? How many more road trips do you have with your best friends? The interesting thing about road trips, you may already have your last one before you even realized it was going to be the last one. How many more late night conversations do you get to have with your best friends studying in your dorm or at the coffee shop? How many more loose threads do you have to tie out before you graduate and you all go your separate ways. Now, as thought-provoking as that one is, let's talk about our loved ones. See, here's my girls, my daughters. That's Avery and Katie. They're 14 and 12. Did you know that the average kid spends 300 days per year with their parent from the age of 0 to 18? And then after 18, they spend either 10 or 30 days with their parent. 30 if they live within proximity, if they live in the same town. 10 if they live further away. Now, Avery's 14, as I mentioned, I'm 46. So when you run out this math, Avery and I have already spent 4,200 days together. Now, she has 4 more years before she turns 18, so that's another 1,200 days. And then when she's 18, I'll be 50. I already mentioned we kind of go to 80. So that's 30 more years, 900 more days, because she's required to live close by. It's a family rule. So what does that tell us? Avery and I have already spent 67% of our total time together if we do nothing different to change the time. Katie, my 12-year-old, we're 58, 59% of the time already covered. Now let's flip this a bit. That's my dad. He's 72. I'm not going to run out this math for you, but no, barring I do nothing different, we are 96% of the way through. How about you? Again, I know we have a younger crowd. A lot of you think, well, I have time. Maybe. By the way, this is me graduating just a few years ago. Let's say you're 20 and your mom's 50 and she has 30 more years just like me. If you live by, you have 900 more days. If you live a little bit further apart, you have 300 more days. No matter how you spin this one, you're actually 90% of the way through. Again, barring you don't do something about it. Because you have some serious choices to make here. See, you can either look at that math and feel bad and have some regret, wish you could go back in time, or you can do something about it. See, I don't really love baseball games. They're boring. But guess who loves baseball games? My dad does. So I have season tickets to the Arizona Diamondbacks. And I really, really, really don't like golf. 4 or 5 hours on a golf course? I mean, come on. But guess who loves golf? My dad does. So I take lessons and try to get out on the course as often as I can. And this last picture here, the woman opposite side of the picture from me, that's my mom. See, I hired my mom to my company a handful of years ago. And I did not hire her for her talent, though to be super clear, and it's important I say this, otherwise she'll strangle me, she's incredibly talented. I hired my mom so I can create more time with her. My math, I think when all's said and done, we created an additional 4,000 days together. So what are you going to do about it? See, I think there's some action steps that everybody in this room can take starting right now. This first one, write your own eulogy. This may sound a little morbid, but I promise you it is not. I want you to picture your celebration of life. Specifically, I want you to think about who's sitting in those first 3 rows. What are they saying about you? What stories are they telling? What stories would you like them to be telling? When someone stands up to talk about you and the impact that you made on the world and on your peers and on your family, what would you like them to say? Now compare that against your present reality. Awesome. Now you get to write a plan to take your current reality to your envisioned future. Next thing I think you could do, Take no days off. That doesn't mean work every day or think about this subject nonstop. What it means is that every single day presents a new opportunity for every one of us to get a little bit better at something. Maybe that's 5 more pages to read to make you a bit smarter. Maybe it's 1 more experience. Maybe it's a half-hour longer conversation with someone important to you. Take no days off. And then lastly, I want to challenge everybody here to get weird. That's kind of a funny one. But here's the deal. When you study success in business, success in life, success in relationships, what you find is those that are successful are doing things differently than everybody else around them. They're doing things different than the status quo. And by definition, guess what? That's called weird. To which I say, yeah, let's get weird. How are you approaching your time? How are you approaching your life? How do you approach your relationships? I sure as heck don't want to do it like the status quo, do you? There's a great book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. It was written by this nurse named Bronnie Ware, who had an opportunity to work with people towards their very last days, the last days of their lives. And she got to talk to them about their regrets. You know the number one regret that she found? I wish I would have led a life true to myself. See, I refuse to have that regret. And I challenge everyone here to do the same. Now go call your mom. Thank you.